And the thing is, I reckon with CFS more so than most, there is a really big spectrum, isn't there? For some people, it's a relatively short-term thing. I don't mean a week, but for other people, it's ever. You know, that's one of the things I reckon is that there's no absolutes. It's such a scale and it's such a range of, you know, duration and limitation and physiological impact. And also on top of that, the recovery process is different for people, although there are similarities, or the recovery time definitely is different. Like you said, you can't rock up to the old bloody CFS centre and they go, hang on, you're type 7, here's the type 7 pill, you be good on Tuesday. Doesn't happen. And that must bother people, because whether or not it's managing and overcoming CFS, or whether or not it's losing weight, or whether or not it's managing your chaotic mind, or whether or not it's building a business and brand, or whatever the goal is, for the most part, there is no best way, but there's a best way for you. One of the challenges, I reckon, with what you do is that people do want a saviour. People do want someone to tell them what to do. Just tell me what to do. And then you go, well, a big part of it is you figuring it out. They're like, oh, fuck that. Isn't there a pill? And this is like, we are programmed for this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we have a pretty solid application process to get into our program. Not anyone can get into it, because one thing for sure is that coming from a place of desperation is never going to result in a good result. But at the same time, we get messages and DMs every single day. You know, there's such desperation because they're in such pain and they're struggling so much. But the first point of call is to calm your nervous system down, calm down, and let's logically look at how can we build a healthy foundation for you with where you're at. Some of our clients, like literally, we had one particular lady from America. She was in her 60s and she literally looked like she was dying. She had more illnesses that I didn't even know the name of half of them. She said, do you think you can help me? I said, I'm not entirely sure it's going to help you completely. However, working on your health on the fundamental level isn't going to be detrimental to you. It would be useful. And she said, what can I do? I can do nothing. And I said, well, can you hear me and listen to me right now? She said, yes, because we're on a webinar. And I said, are you sitting up or are you laying down? She said, I can sit up for like 2 minutes at a time. I said, what else can you do? She said, I can go to the bathroom once a day. I can shower once a week. And so we had to start there for her. It wasn't about go for a walk or start exercising. Absolutely not. That was the last thing she needed. She needed to focus on what she could do right now. Her mum used to have to walk up and feed her every single breakfast, lunch and dinner. Within 6 months, she was eating all her meals downstairs with her mum. Within 9 months, she was at the beach that she hadn't been to in 10 years with the sand between her feet and just feeling the wind on her face. You know, and then a year later, she was just living her life again. She was, you know, driving 7 hours to see her friends she hadn't seen for 20 years. And this is a person in her 60s who had been sick for over 10 years. And so I've just seen it time and time again where you've just got to focus on where you're at. You know, exactly what you said, everyone's different and we can get so overwhelmed at trying to find the answer, but the answer does start within. But also doing the fundamentals with where you're at is so important. And that's why there's such a stigma around exercise with chronic fatigue syndrome, because it can be detrimental to exercise if you've got chronic fatigue. Just to go and start walking or running might be the last thing you need to be doing right now. You might need to be actually stopping all movement and exercise and start to restore and recalibrate your system before you start even thinking about moving forwards with exertion, because, you know, post-exertional malaise is something that people with chronic fatigue syndrome need to be, careful about. And so, again, it's just doing the right things at the right time. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, and it needs to be individualized for the individual.